Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/IDOWorkHereLady and our first story for today. I do work here, but if you want me to leave, I will. My home office was the company headquarters, and my day-to-day job was helping the office staff with their computers or going out to the restaurant locations to fix broken cash registers or back office computers, etc. There were 3 or 4 of us that did field work, and we took turns with a 24-hour on-call cell phone for after-hours emergencies. Some of our restaurants were open 24 hours, so someone had to be on call. I was low man on the totem pole, so my manager would often pass his turn, and I would have to take the on-call duties for 2 weeks. This effectively made me a 24-hour-per-day employee. As soon as the after-hours phone rang, I would record my time until the call was finished. We had over 120 locations in the southwestern United States, and some idiot managers and assistant managers thought the emergency on-call number was for silly questions, to chat because they were bored, or for broken ice machines, which really annoyed me when I was trying to sleep at 3 a.m. One particular time, I get an urgent call at about 2 a.m. about a broken back-office computer at a location across town. They use these for payroll, inventory, and the time clock, so I had to crawl out of bed, get dressed, and head to the gang-infested part of town about 40 minutes away. I'm tired, sleep-deprived, not in a good mood since I'm in a part of town that has the most gang shootings. I walk into the restaurant, which is completely dead at 2:40 in the morning, and proceed to walk past the counter to the back. Since I work at the corporate office, we have no uniforms. I'm just in khakis and a polo and leather dress shoes. Some kid, like 20 years old, stops me and asks what I'm doing. MK is manager kid. TT is tired tech. That's me. TT, I'm here to fix the computer. MK, aggressively and snottily replies, there's nothing wrong with our computer and you don't belong here, so get out. TT, I just got a call at 2 a.m. from your manager to come fix the computer. I don't just crawl out of bed at that hour and drive across town for no reason. MK, I am the manager and no one called you. You're just some drunk trying to pull a fast one. TT, okay, this is ridiculous. I showed him my toolkit and said, call your manager and verify, please, because I'm tired and drove a long way to get here, and I'd like to just do my job and then try to get a few more hours sleep. MK, I'm not calling my manager at 3 a.m. TT, okay, then I'm going home. Good luck when your manager finds out you sent the tech away, wasted 2 hours of my time and mileage. You know that comes out of your store's budget. MK, get out. I'm calling the cops. TT, don't worry, I'm leaving. So I get home, it's way past 4, I fall into bed, fall asleep. Not 15 minutes later, the emergency phone rings again. I am PO'd. It's the same number that called me the first time. It's the store manager. I'll call him SM. SM, where the F are you? I told you my back office computer's down. I'm reporting you to your manager. TT, I was just there. I drove to the restaurant immediately when it was blocked by some assistant manager kid. He demanded I leave and threatened to call the cops. SM, you should have just walked into the back and fixed the problem. TT, were you there? SM, no. TT, did you tell that little P word that kicked me out I was coming? SM, no. TT, then it's your own fault. I'm running on 0 sleep and it isn't safe for me to drive. I'll be by in the morning. SM, you will come here now or I'll call your effing manager and have you fired. TT, go ahead. Now F off. I'm going back to bed. As soon as my head hits the pillow, the phone rings again. It's my manager. 5 a.m. and he's not happy. I'll call my manager B. B, so I hear you didn't want to go on a service call and told a manager to F off. We can't have that. It's unprofessional. I'm going to have to write you up. TT, did he tell you the whole story? B, no, that's all he said. Well, screamed. TT, I told him how I spent the night being refused entry and how they threatened to call the cops on me. And now I'm running on 0 sleep from having this on-call phone ringing 24/7 for 2 weeks, and I'm so tired I'm seeing double. B, okay, get some sleep. You can come in at noon today, then you can drop off the phone. That same day, B went and had business cards printed for all his techs so we wouldn't run into this again. I headed to that same restaurant around 2 p.m. The manager was glaring at me along with the assistant manager who threw me out. I held up my new business card and asked if I was allowed to proceed to the back so I could do my job. The assistant manager kid just looked at the ground, and the store manager just gave me the stink eye while I plugged in a loose printer cable and left. The unsolvable problem, loose cable, has caught up with us again. And our next story for today. Yeah, no, I work here way longer than you do. Bit of a backstory. I work for a chemistry laboratory which is specialized in analyzing soil and started as a default worker there, looking over several semi-automatic analyzers. About half a year later, I got transferred to the field, taking samples and supervising construction sites. Because of this, I'm really rarely at my company, normally coming in really late in the evening, dropping some samples. I'm still the senior operator on my analyzers as I have the most experience with them. This story takes place a few years into my job. I was coming into the company late in the evening. I was dirty from being on a construction site the whole day and was wearing a ripped t-shirt and was very tired. I tried to keep my time at the company short so I could get home to my wife, so I entered the room in which my analyzers are located and also my PC is at. In this room was a young woman I've never seen to that point in the typical chemistry smock. I entered and said hi and headed to my PC when she let out a shriek. Her. What are you doing in here? You have to leave now. Me. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm her. No, you have to leave or I'll call the police. She was backing up, hands in front of her and a frightened look in her eyes. It dawned on me that I wasn't really looking trustworthy, but tried calming her down. Me. I work here. I'm Walron. This is my PC. I was pointing at my PC and headed there. After entering my passcode, she finally calmed down. Her. You nearly gave me a heart attack there. I've worked here 3 months and I've never seen you. Who the F are you? Me. That's because I work in the field. I'm actually your superior. See, I showed her some documents with my name on them in the category Department Manager. This title was worthless at this point. I just overlooked some documents the workers wrote and signed them to do document plausibility. She had thought she was the only one in the building, which was correct until I let myself in with my key and thought I was some sort of customer who found an open door or such. She was let go not long after this because of her rude attitude. You're 15. You can't work here. Get out before I call security. This is my first time posting on this sub, and English is my first language, so feel free to make fun of my spelling and punctuation. Some backstory. I look younger than I actually am. I'm 18, but I look 15 or 16. My dad owns a relatively large company in the UK with 50 or 60 workers. I've worked with my dad for a couple years, but only the other executives knew I was his son. None of the interns or any other workers knew this. Cast. Me. Babyface kid. Dad. CEO, CFO, Chief Financial Officer, OF1, office worker, OF2, office worker number 2. My dad's office has 4 floors, an executive floor, 2 floors for office space for all the workers, and a floor for storage and parking. I work on the 2nd floor with my dad on the 4th, so I rarely see him around the office or any other executive for that matter. I used to just organize the storage room, but when I turned 18, I began working in the actual offices. On my first day, people started staring, but that was really it. It all kicked off on my 3rd day when OF1 came up to me and said, "So, where do you go to school?" Me. Actually, I don't go to school anymore. OF1 called over OF2, and both of them looked at me as if I just lied straight to the Queen of England. OF2, that's not true. Where do you go to school, bud? Me. I just told OF1 I don't go to school anymore. OF1 and OF2 looked annoyed at this response and began to get agitated. OF1, you look 15. Me. I can assure you I'm 18, sir. OF2, you're too young to be working here. Stop lying to us. OF1, you're 15. Get out before I call security. I just got up, walked over to the kitchen where I found the CFO. OF1 and OF2 went off to call security. Me. Ma'am, OF1 and OF2 are claiming I'm only 15. Can you go get my dad? The CFO nodded and left, headed to the elevator, while I walked back to my desk and sat and waited for the 2 OFs to come back. Eventually, they come back with security, and I'm wondering what's taking Dad so long. The security guard strutted over and said, "Come on, let's see your ID then." I'd left my wallet in the car. My fault, I know, so I told him I didn't have any on me, but he cut me off and started to pull me up out of my chair. At this time, my dad and the CFO come around the corner, and my dad instantly yelled out, "What the F is going on?" My dad gets easily upset. The security guard was startled and let go, leaving me to fall on the floor, while OF1 and OF2 stood there staring at me. Security. "Ah, CEO, you startled me. Just getting rid of this kid, nothing to worry about." Dad. "I suggest you leave that kid alone. He's my son." The security guard and everyone else on the floor went dead silent, and at that time OF1 and OF2 went back to their desks very sheepishly. I was moved up to the executive floor just in case this happened again, as my dad doesn't have time to deal with crap like this on a regular basis. The security guard was let off with a warning, OF1 was sacked for starting the unneeded commotion, and OF2 was let off the hook, to my disappointment. Edit, I'm disappointed he was fired, not that OF2 was let off the hook. This happened about 6 months ago, and I still work there to this day with an office shared with the CFO's son. We get along great, so it's a really chill environment to work in. And a little story for those of you who've seen the video almost to the end. You mean at this store? I worked at Target, and there was a Hobby Lobby across the street. I ran over to Hobby Lobby after a shift to grab something, and I was still wearing my red shirt with the Target symbols all over it. A 20-something girl comes up and says, "Do you know where I can find a glue gun?" I paused and just kind of looked at my shirt and said, "You mean at this store or like at Target?" And she just stared at my name tag for a long time and sighed a heavy sigh and quietly said, "Sorry, I didn't know where I was." Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and we'll see you again soon.